Hello, this is the third part I wasn't intending to make on my commentary about why I believe the judge did not understand Mormon doctrines and theology and therefore did not rule correctly, having insufficient understanding of what Mormon doctrines and covenants actually are. But I ended the last video by saying that the church was liars. Like, there's never been these persistent pattern of cases in the church. Au contraire. Timothy Dickerson, are you listening? Here's a little history lesson. Your Honor, are you acquainted with the early American swindling practice known as glass looking? This artist is thoroughly aware of what a glass looker is. Mark Ellsworth. Basically, it's this major scam job. You set up yourself as this expert in finding buried treasure on people's land. So you convince this farmer that, he got Captain Kidd's gold, a pirate from the Caribbean, and he came to New England and buried it, or whatever Indian treasure. And so the whole scam is you go live in the farmer's house. You get room and board for free in the farmer's house. You get this crew of men to dig for you. And from what I'm understanding from the book, Joseph directed a lot of the digging, but didn't do a lot of it. And his family was known for pulling off scams, for stealing from their neighbors. Well, glass looking is a form of stealing. It was outlawed in the United States. It was a crime. And Joseph Smith and his lazy-ass family didn't want to work. They got his farm. His mother got money. They had all this land, and they were such lazy fucks. They didn't want to work the land. Instead, from the time he was 11, I believe, until I've heard different numbers, like 18 or 19, Joseph was a glass looker. So he goes into people's houses that young and lies to them day after day after day about finding a treasure that isn't there. It's like the swindlers with their weaving looms and the emperor's new clothes. It's the same kind of bull. And you can't tell me, with the sexual predation that he displayed later within the religion, that he wasn't honing his skills at seduction and his attitudes towards women in various houses that he went from place to place to place to place all over New England, pulling off this glass-looking scheme. My opinion is that the church was established around the Golden Bible. Originally, he claimed that he was the author, tried to get a patent for it in Canada. That didn't work, and then they decided to act like it was bona fide, that it really, really, really did come from an angel, really, really had happened. Yeah. So he turned to religion because it was even easier than glass looking, sir. In the Book of Mormon, Joseph Smith describes the great and abominable church and lays out its 3 wicked desires: power, fine clothes, and whoredom, which is exactly what he got. He went to his death in Carthage jail with a talisman called a Jupiter coin. I think there's a really good video on YouTube. I know Sandra Tanner is in it. And they talk about what the Jupiter talisman was supposed to bring Joseph and why he wore it on his person all the time. Power, influence over people. These were the desires of this boy. And frankly, sir, more and more Americans are waking up to the fact that the reason organized religion exists and thrives is because it's a bunch of good old boys that want to excuse each other in their sins and in continuing to commit them. I wonder if you're a good old boy. How many brain cells does it take to rub together to realize that a child being raped day in and day out for 7 years and knowing about it is a crime? A crime. No exceptions. Mormon history also goes into all these abusive women. Polygamy. Hello. Are you stupid, Judge? The whole history of Mormonism is laced in polygamy, the oppression sexually of women. We've got Brigham Young. Horrible stories about how he killed Indians by feeding them glass inside flour. The slaughters and the battles. Stuff like a young couple being in love and a bishop wanting the young girl for his other wife, so he chops off the balls of the courting boy, and the boy dies, and Brigham Young's like, ding! This is the history of Mormonism. And yet, you're like, oh, they are a holy people. I believe the commercials I saw on TV. Yes, yes. Family, it's about time. Gordon B. Hinckley liked to talk about a chain of generations, link upon link upon link, that runs through the church. And he would talk to the young generation, the kids and teens, that they cannot break the chain of their heritage. Don't be the weak link. Well, I tell you that the chain that runs through Mormonism is more like Jacob Marley's. It is the chain of condoning and enabling the sexual abuse of women and children. This started to be exposed by people in the 90s. There was a group called the Mormon Alliance, founded by two women. They were sisters. They were excommunicated for it. So that's when I started getting abused by my abuser. And if the church had listened to these women, everything that happened to me might not have occurred. Instead, here I am, 50 years old. I'm a part of Protect Every Child, the next generation of what happened because the Mormon Alliance was ignored. It started because Bishop Sam Young found out about the questions asked of his daughter in one-on-one interview with Mormon leaders behind closed doors. And the church dug in its heels and excommunicated him for questioning their authority, their right to sexually interrogate and intimidate minors without their consent and without the protection of any adults. Judge, where is your brain? How is the reading of Arizona law in your noggin so narrow that you can't even see with your two eyes or use anything between your ears? If these things I have described to you can be gotten away with, maybe every predator should start a church, because it's the easiest way to keep getting away with it for centuries. This is my TED Talk.